Well, Grenada, a very good Friday morning to you, my dear friends, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm George Grant, and saying welcome to the Friday edition of Good Day Grenada. And boy, what a beautiful morning. I'll tell you, yesterday afternoon, I was downtown for a little while, and this place is just teeming, I mean teeming, with visitors to the island for the upcoming carnival festivities. And it looks like they are going to have a great weekend. A lot of activities taking place. And can you just imagine? I didn't get down to Grand Dance yesterday, but can you just imagine what it's like down on the beach? Yeah? It is just awesome. Beautiful, beautiful sunny skies, hardly a cloud. And I have to tell you, yesterday as I walked down Lucas Street, you could see the boats coming in from Trinidad because, a lot of people come here not by Caribbean Airlines or Liat. A lot of people flood into those places by boats. And I can just imagine today you're going to see even more of them. This place is just teeming. And the talk on the streets seems to be that, especially the Dimanche Gras, people are just, well, I'll tell you, they're very optimistic that this is going to be one of the best Dimanche Gras they have seen in eons, maybe in their lifetime. And I think one of the reasons for that is that this year, every year, Dimanche Gras, while some of the content may be really good, people get a little bit frustrated by the way in which the event is choreographed. There are long pauses between the acts, and this goes wrong, and that goes wrong, and what have you. Well, I see that the SMC has actually recruited our good friend, Mr. Ricardo Keynes Douglas. It seems like everything this guy touches turns to gold. And he is going to be choreographing the event on Sunday night. So, that should add a lot to the event. Certainly hope they have a great time. One of the things they've added this year too is they're going to recognize some outstanding Calypsonians, and I keep forgetting this guy's name. There are two of them. One is the Flying Turkey, whom I understand has arrived. I haven't seen him yet, but I understand that he is here. And the other guy's name, darn it, I keep forgetting. Anyhow, they're going to be recognizing these two Calypsonians. And that is definitely going to add to the festivities. Understand you also have a father and son competing. And that too. You got this group rooting for this group and that group rooting for that side. Yeah, should be good. So I say all of that despite the fact that Georgie Porgy is going to remain put right here. So whatever you do this weekend, and I'm extending this to the visitors as well. Please have your fun, but within limits. One of the things I'm hearing is that you're seeing a lot of people driving on the wrong side of the road, and that must be driving the cops, the traffic department, crazy. I understand what it feels like. After I had been away from this place for 16 years, I came back and found myself having to drive on the wrong side of the road. Well, wrong side as far as I was concerned. But please, that could lead to the number of accidents, and we have had a horrendous year as far as traffic accidents are concerned in this place. Just absolutely horrendous. I do ask that you guys also please respect the laws of this place. Yes, there are a lot of traffic regulations in place for this year's event. But I also heard the commissioner expressing concern about the number of attacks that have been launched against police officers. Yeah. Some people are saying, well, you know, the police need to start respecting themselves first. Yeah, I understand that's a problem, that's a problem. But you know, there's an old saying, two wrongs don't make a right. And yeah, we need to respect the law. And here I am sitting here asking you to respect the law when those in authority have such a flagrant disregard for the law, starting right at the top. You know, some sort of irony there, but I don't know. Anyhow, let me take a look and see how the race is going this morning, the race to be first to chime in. Well, guess who? Guess who? Margaret. Margaret wins the race this morning. Margaret, girl, the only thing I have to offer you is a jug of ice water. That's it. Huh? See that? I don't know if you can make out the picture on there. Yeah, you can probably see the picture, the little cartoon, but what does it say here? Sam the Olympic Eagle, 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games. Margaret, I'm only kidding. I'm not going to offer this to you. This was given to me by the U.S. Embassy many, many, many years ago. And I'm sorry, I love you dearly, but I'm going to hang on to this. I'm not parting with it. This is my go-to mug, all right? And in any event, I know that you're cherishing your Moni mug, which was given to you by our good friend out there in Carriacou, John. So, yes, Margaret is the first up this morning. Peter Bishop is, Peter is in Long Island, not in Brooklyn this morning. John, yeah, John speaking, but John says, you're back online. Good morning all on planet Earth. John, yeah, you know, I'll tell you what I've done. Usually when we're not on the air with these live programs, you know, Gudday Grenada every weekday, Sundays with George Grant on Sunday, Make We Chat, like last night, for example, Make We Chat. And by the way, I confess, always honest, I have not yet put last night's edition of Make We Chat up on the site. So for those of you who may have been there, I have to do some editing to it because we had some issues at the start of the program. But it's going to be up later on today, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, when we're not doing those programs, we usually, on the website, just run 24/7 music, 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 okay? I stopped that a couple of days ago. I stopped that. And instead, whenever we're coming on live with these programs, bingo, just go to the GrenadaBroadcast.com website. As soon as, within 30 seconds of hitting the button here, 30 seconds because that's about how long it takes to get up on the internet to Facebook, which then sends it to GrenadaBroadcast.com. And as you know, we're also on YouTube. After we get through with the program, we send it up to YouTube. We're going to start sooner or later broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. And for those of you who don't already know this, I am extending an invitation to you to subscribe. When you go to the YouTube channel, see a little red blob there saying subscribe. Click on that. And whenever we do one of our programs, once it's up on YouTube, YouTube will send you a note saying, hey, Georgie Porgy's there, all right? So please do that. Deborah Parker Stratus Robinson, hello there, pretty Debbie. She's saying, hope you have a wonderful weekend, girl. Am I gonna have a wonderful weekend? It's gonna be divided between the boudoir and this chair, studio. I have to run out today to do some errands, but I intend once I get back in here later on, to be confined to this building. Yeah, I did promise myself I'm going to try and get some rest this weekend, and that's exactly what I intend to do. So thank you, Debbie. Good to see you, girl. Fitzroy Adams saying, thank God it's Friday. Yeah, man. Hope you had a great week, Fitzroy. And just don't overexert yourself so that on Wednesday you'll be able to head back to the office and everything's going to be hunky-dory. John is also wishing you guys a relaxed and wonderful weekend. Yeah, man. Ashton Fletcher, good morning from beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. Just wanted to wish everyone a safe and peaceful Carnival weekend. Well, Ashton, we all join you in extending those wishes to not just the people of Grenada, but the many, many, many visitors who are here. Peter Bishop says, as a matter of fact, they will be awarding 3 artists: Black Wizard, Flying Turkey, and Praying Mantis. That's the name I kept on forgetting. Praying Mantis. I didn't know about the Flying Turkey one, but thanks a lot for the heads up, Pedro. So yeah, I see a lot of reasons. I imagine pay-per-view is going to be going crazy tonight. Huh? A lot of people want to see what's going on. And then Benedict Cador has chimed in as well, and he's saying, fantastic Friday. Okay, so good morning to those of you who have joined us so far. Thank you so much. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. NOAA has increased the chance for an above average, an above normal hurricane season. That information came out yesterday. Actually, it's one of the things that the suspects were talking about last night on McRee Chat. Checked it out. Yeah, we have a little bit of information there about that for you. The next item, Ebola, you know that dreaded disease in Africa? Ebola, in exchange for Africa's wealth of diamonds. I'm going to run a short video. I think it's only about 8 minutes long or so. Tells a sad story. I'm not going to talk about it right now because it's self-explanatory. You'll understand what it's all about when you watch it. Then we have the national report from the GIS. And finally, Brian is not with us this morning. Yesterday I was on my way into town, and right out here on Lucas Street and Woolwich Road, I bumped into Brian. Brian warned me that he was taking some time off because of Carnival. He's going to be back right after Carnival, but he is a Carnival fanatic. So I said to him yesterday, are you going to the Queen Show tonight? He said, nah. And then some visitors from Toronto stopped in, interrupted the conversation. Just an indication that there are a lot of people on this island. So Brian, we're going to miss you this morning, but we're looking forward to your return. Meanwhile, John Bruno is saying good morning. He's joined us, and so is Hazel Ferguson, wishing you guys a safe and happy weekend. All right? So let's begin doing what we're supposed to be doing here this morning. NOAA forecasters, these are the people who monitor the weather systems coming across the Atlantic. Forecasters are monitoring oceanic and atmospheric patterns and saying that conditions are now more favorable for above normal hurricane activity since El Nino has now ended. Okay. 2 named storms have already formed so far this year, and the peak months of the hurricane season, August, September, October, are now underway, okay? Seasonal forecasters with the Climate Prediction Center have increased the likelihood of an above normal Atlantic hurricane season to 45%, up from 30% from the outlook which they issued in May. The likelihood of near normal activity has now gone up to 35%, and the chance of below normal activity has dropped to 20%. The number of predicted storms is also greater with NOAA. They're now expecting 10 to 17 named storms. You're talking about systems with winds 39 miles an hour or greater, of which 5 to 9 will become hurricanes. Remember, a hurricane begins when the winds get up to 74 miles an hour, that and above, okay? Including 2 to 4 major hurricanes. And a major hurricane is when the winds get to 111 miles an hour or greater. This updated outlook is for the entire 6-month hurricane season, which ends on November 30th. Well, theoretically, it ends on November 30th. We've had storms up to December, huh? Be on guard, folks. Be on guard. Now, good morning, Osmond Lewis from beautiful New York, where it's nice and sunny. And Osmond, you're not the only person with nice sunny skies this morning. Boy, it's just beautiful here. It's just, you know, when I get through here, I hope it's still the same out there. I'm going to go sit on the balcony and just, yeah, and be thankful. John says, any news of the shelter list? John, you know. Old people had a saying, you live in hope, you're going to die in Marquee. How many of you remember that? Huh? John, I don't know. Just, what can I say? All right. Now, time to move along. Let's not waste our time there. Actually, it's not wasted time. It's important that the people know where they can run in the event that a system hits us and prepare before the system hits us. Maybe we'll wait until the first one gets right here under the nose, and then we'll say, oh, by the way, in the event of a disaster, you can go to so-and-so shelter. If that one's full, go to this one. Yeah. Is that any way to run a country? Is it? Whew. And then, after the disaster, we take a hat, jump on Liat or Caribbean Airlines or American Airlines or JetBlue or Delta, whoever, go around the world. Gimme money, I need some help. It's no laughing matter, folks. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. That's why we talk about these things. Now, let's move on. As you watch this piece about one of the great misfortunes of Africa, and boy, they've had many, take a moment to look for similarities between what is going on there and what is happening here. In their case, they are losing their wealth of diamonds in exchange for the Ebola plague. In our case, we're losing our beaches and our land in exchange for foreign traditions, the loss of our culture, and ill health. No need for a lengthy explanation here. This short video tells the African story quite well. Check it out.
Just recently, Mali, Congo, and Sierra Leone erupted yet again into what the BBC described as civil war. The truth is that most of these turf wars and civil wars play into the hands of diamond prospectors, with the displacement of millions of Africans, enabling mining companies to set up shop and create facilities which look like high-security prisons. These are diamond mines, and they mar the natural beauty of the landscape and strip the subterranean strata using high-powered water hoses and acid. And these diamond merchants and diamond mines are creating havoc and destruction all over Africa. Who owns these diamond mines? Well, in many cases, De Beers and other Jewish British aristocratic companies are running the diamond business. And it's been that way since the era of Sir Cecil Rhodes, a man so rich from diamonds that he actually named a country, Rhodesia, after his own name. Behind the scenes, vast numbers of guns, pistols and bullets are distributed to various African villages. When a local person discovers a diamond, miraculously, as if by magic, two things happen. Firstly, landmines are placed all over the area where there are diamonds. This keeps local people away from the diamonds until the Jewish British aristocrats move in with their high-security diamond mines. And secondly, local people begin to die of a mysterious plague. The World Health Organization says there is no cure for this plague, and the plague is called Ebola. When the aristocratic murderer Lord Lucan fled London after killing a woman, the mainstream media claimed they had no idea at all where Lord Lucan went. But we have tracked him down. Lord Lucan went to Botswana, which is one of the African nations controlled by Buckingham Palace. Indeed, all over Africa there are British Hebrew aristocratic families extracting diamonds from African lands, and they're leaving ecological devastation in their wake. Now, we also have to add into this mix a fact that Jews very often hate Muslims, and it is interesting to note that the Ebola plague is killing Muslim Africans in areas where there are Jewish diamond mines. Almost in every case, especially in Mali, the local people who say they deserve a fair share of the diamond business are branded as Islamic extremists. Activists in New York who have criticized Jewish companies for being involved in the so-called blood diamonds business, these activists too have been targeted and labeled by the mainstream media as extremists. British mercenary soldiers have been hired to distribute guns to stir up civil war in all these African countries where Buckingham Palace and the Jewish diamond traders in Amsterdam, Antwerp and London extract vast numbers of diamonds. Every country in Africa which has diamonds has, just by chance, a civil war. The British Jewish aristocracy are the biggest customers for diamonds. But diamonds are not just about wedding rings and jewellery. Diamonds are used as a form of money laundering and are an important part of the drug trade. Diamonds are also a very useful form of bribery. $1 million diamonds can be given and held in a single pocket as a bribe, and the value of the bribe can never be seen on any bank account document. Diamonds are a very useful way of shifting millions of dollars across international borders, because just a shirt pocket full of diamonds saves that person from carrying huge suitcases stuffed with cash. During the recent period of war in West Africa, we have witnessed a conflict that is in just over a decade left 50,000 people dead, hundreds of thousands of people homeless, and the country's infrastructure and economy in tatters. The poor people in Congo, Angola, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Mali have not even enough money to buy good walking boots. But meanwhile, tons of diamonds have ended up in the hands of the Jewish aristocratic cutters and polishers in Amsterdam and Israel, who prepare and market the diamonds, which are usually bought by the world's richest aristocrats. There is not a single diamond on the planet which has not caused massive ecological and/or social damage. During the last 10 years of the African Diamond Wars, roughly 500,000 people have been the victims of killings, systematic mutilation, or other atrocities, with some of the world's worst crimes committed by child soldiers who were drugged to desensitize them of this awful, fake war against terrorism, which is in actual fact fake civil war to protect the owners of the diamond mines. In the background, every week, private jets fly between the Congo and Tel Aviv in Israel, shipping out the weekly haul of diamonds from the area. There is, without question, a strange paradox that many African villages rely on a single standpipe of water, while just yards away, high-powered water hoses flush diamonds underground by workers who have to suffer the indignity of anal probes and x-rays as they leave their workplace. The Jewish bosses making sure that none of their modern slaves have swallowed a small uncut gem to allay the horrendous inequality of their society. While the Jewish bosses of these diamond mines earn billions of dollars, the drivers of the trucks and diggers and mining machines earn literally just a few pennies a day.
Very sad story, isn't it? Very sad story. You know, we're lucky here on this island. I run these pieces because one of the things I really hope to do throughout my tenure doing these programs is to educate our people. There's so much that you don't know, so much that I am learning, and I intend to share the things that I learn with you. These are things you're not going to see too much of in the mainstream media. And this is one of the occasions on which I really do appreciate having the internet. Yes, a lot of people are using the internet for the wrong reasons and social media. But there are a lot of good things out there, things that open our eyes to the reality which our mainstream media continues to flagrantly ignore. All right, folks, let's see here. Jackie O is chiming in from warm Washington, D.C. Good to see you, Jackie O. I see your friend Pedro is there. Coylan Nash says he just came from work, so he's a bit late. Well, good to have you, boy. Better late than never. John Bruno says, we're not far behind that huge hotel being built at the end of Grenadian's Beach. Who owns it? Oh, a Jewish ambassador. We are promised jobs in their kitchens and laundries. Well put, John. Well put. Break time. Come back with the National.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative, supporting health.
To the individuals who will be using these vehicles to serve the people, please ensure while we are using these tools that we use these tools in a manner that we will all be proud of. To GRENADA, a long-standing partner with us, a true testament of what can happen when private and public sector work together for the benefit of the people.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Welcome home.
Good morning, Lawrence. He's saying good morning. He's listening and watching and wishing you a lovely weekend. Thank you, sir. And let's see. Here comes the National.
Grenada shines at Pan Am Games in Peru. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, August 8th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Grenada shines at the Pan American Games in Peru, with Lyndon Victor securing a silver medal in the men's 1500-meter decathlon. Speaking to the GIS about his performance, Sports Minister Senator Norland Cox expressed optimism that Grenada will continue to perform well at the Games. He says the country is proud of Lyndon and the other athletes participating in the 2019 Pan Am Games.
We're excited, and of course we want to start off by congratulating Lyndon on his getting a silver in the decathlon at the Pan Am Games in Peru. We also want to recognize Kurt, who has worked very hard in that event as well. He didn't complete the event. He has been struggling with some injuries. I did reach out to them last night, and actually they responded this morning, and he indicated that it was an injury that he was struggling with, and we just want to commend him for his effort in the work and continue to represent Grenada in a big way. I know we had Josh was there as well. He didn't perform the way he wanted to, but he is a fun and spirited athlete, and I know that he's going to come back strong and represent us. We still have Braylon to run. He qualified for the finals, and we have Anderson Peters. We are very hopeful that Anderson can, both he and Braylon can medal for us. And so we believe that they're doing very well, and we are giving them all the support that they can.
Victor was beaten by Canadian Damian Warner, with another Canadian Pierce Lepage placing third. Construction work is almost 50% complete on Phase 1 of the low-income housing projects in Dumfries, Carriacou. It entails construction of 100 low-income housing units which will provide shelter for 100 low-income families. An update was provided recently by Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Honorable Kendra Mathurin Stewart. Details in this report by Jamon Adams, the Ministry's Public Relations Officer.
The project is part of government's 2006 agreement with the government of the People's Republic of China to construct 2,000 low-income housing units in Grenada. Minister Mathurin Stewart says she's impressed with the work done so far by the Beijing Construction Engineering Group.
And I was pretty amazed with the work that was done thus far, and it's been done. And what struck me most about those units and that project is the size of those units. And I mean, we hear complaints all the time as to these things the units probably too small, nobody's going to live there. But I was pretty much amazed and excited with what I saw yesterday.
She says through this initiative, which addresses the housing deficit, many lives will be touched and changed in a positive way in both Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
And I know that we are pretty much on track to deliver over 100 new homes to the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, especially our young people, by mid-year 2020.
The need for affordable housing is immense, and the lasting impact it can have on homeowners and their families is undeniable, Minister Stewart further stated.
You know, as the parliamentary representative for the area, I am really encouraged by the interest that is being shown presently in these units by our people. Scores of persons, believe it or not, have begun to inquire about the requirements and the application process in order to obtain a roof essentially over their heads. And by this interest that is shown, I am more and more convinced that this is a project that will bring tremendous benefits to the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
The project is expected to be completed early 2020.
This is a national report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man.
Coming down to Grenada.
Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest juve in the world, followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8th to 12th for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Welcome back. Turning to news of Carnival. Grenadians are reminded that there is life after Carnival. In a matter of days, Grenada will conclude its 2019 premier festive season, Spice Mass, and concerns have been surfacing about lewdness, alcohol consumption, and the increase in vehicular accidents. During his message to the nation on Thursday, Culture Minister Senator the Honorable Norland Cox stressed the importance of life after Carnival, not only as an individual, but as a country. He says Grenada's Spice Mass package is an exciting one with pure talent that must be showcased to the world in the best possible way.
We are told that thousands of visitors have come to our shows to celebrate with us. And judging from the events I have been able to attend so far, the feedback I have received from others, this season is another that will not disappoint. The level of talent and spiritedness showcased by our people is always heartening, and I venture to say unmatched.
Senator Cox said when this year's Carnival is over, plans will focus on making Spice Mass 2020 bigger and better.
When the Carnival is over, may we all be able to relish this year's celebration, basking in the knowledge that once again we have represented the values and talents of our nation, and we have done so with pride. When the Carnival is over, may the pleasant memories propel us to focus on earnest planning for an even bigger and better celebration next year.
Tonight, 7 young ladies will grace the stage vying for the 2019 Carnival Queen title. The carnival action continues Friday with the Groovy and Soca Mona competition, Panorama on Saturday, and the March Gras on Sunday. Finally, the Grenada Tourism Authority calls for the Carriacou Festival Committee to hold dialogue with regatta boards within the Grenadians to strengthen and chart the way forward for seafaring in Carriacou. GTA's Nautical Development Manager, Nicoyan Roberts, is concerned about the level of participation from the other islands. She says in years gone by, more islands and boatmen supported and participated in the events. This year, Mairo had the largest fleet of 9 boats. Mrs. Roberts recommended that the Carriacou Committee, along with GTA, meet with the regatta committees of Canawan and Bequia to discuss ways to enhance the festival, attract more boatmen, and keep the seafaring culture alive.
The Grenada Tourism Authority can lend even more support to the organizing committee of the Carriacou Regatta by visiting the islands of Canawan and Bequia that produce sailors every single year for this event. We have noticed that in the small open boat classes, you have 12 boats. In the lasers and optimists, you have the same number of boats, but most of these boats are crewed by young men and young women from the Grenadian islands, and we need to find out what are they doing right. The president of the Sailing Association in Canawan has told me that they come to this regatta every year, and they would like to see more sailors from Carriacou and Regatta attend their regatta around Whitsuntide, which is when we have Petit Martinique Regatta, but we can split up the teams.
The sentiments were echoed by Mairo's Sailing Club President Claude Alexander and resident Dennis Bowen.
This group around like Carriacou, Petit Martinique, Mairo, Canawan, and Bequia, I think they should get together and have some big meeting and look in ways that they could bring back this culture. It's Zion, and we have to get together to get back this culture going.
Cooperate with Bequia sailor, the Grenadians, get together and speak to each other and talk to the captain. Our committee from here go up when we have a regatta in Bequia, and then you come and transform and make it nice. You know, talk to people, get together.
That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, August 8th. Let's recap the top story. Grenada shines at Pan Am Games in Peru. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
All right, there you have it. Yesterday's edition of the National Report. Now, it seems like most of you were a little bit focused on the housing project in Carriacou. There's a comment here from John. John says, re-affordable housing in Carriacou. It's just downwind from the tip dump. Okay, so does that mean, John, that you're not going to put your application in for one of those units? Fitzroy Adams says, why you guys continue to lie to the nation as usual? There is no local government in Carriacou. I don't have an answer. John Bruno says, has anyone looked at the change in social life wherever these enclosed concrete structures are built in the Caribbean? Point taken, John. Peter Bishop says, any community center or basketball court for the residents in the new Chinese houses to recreate? Just asking for a friend. John Bruno says, hope they're prepared to address the negative changes that will eventually come. You're asking a lot, John. You're asking a lot, but good question anyway. He says, not even the playing field in that area. Yeah. So much for our youth. John Bruno also says, the committee wasn't set up to look at these things, just pay back to their supporters. And Peter Bishop is agreeing with the comments made by the Nautical Development Manager, Nicoleanne Roberts. Let's see here. Jackie O says, hey, Peter Bishop, you wake up. Good morning to you. All right, folks, I'll tell you what. Very important segment coming up next. And again, forgive Georgie Porgy, running over time this morning, running over time. But what you're about to see is important, so hang in there. We'll get back to you in a minute.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
We are honored to partner with the Grenada Schools, Inc., the Ministry of Education, and the Caliste Government School in providing this library. GCPI program put $120,000 or 66% of the cost of the library. But it's not an investment that is intended to bring a financial return. It is an investment in the human capital of our youth in Grenada.
GrenLec has shown us their seriousness about partnership, their seriousness about education, and their seriousness about nation building. That local partnership tells our major donors that Grenada is interested.
We have got a big vision, Grenada Schools. We believe that what we can do is, through literacy, have the most literate country in the Caribbean. We are very happy that you got this gift from ourselves and from GrenLec.
We see this library as a unique and valuable resource. One of the best things about receiving this library is that it honors and recognizes the efforts and contributions of a company like GrenLec and Grenada Schools Incorporated.
Since 1994, GrenLec shareholders have invested over $22 million. This has been invested in the communities throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. We hope this library will serve the students and school well for many years to come.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Alrighty, folks, I apologize. I think Peter was referring to recreation, not recreate, but recreation or lack of recreation facilities at that housing project in Carriacou. My bad, Pedro. Terribly sorry about that. All right. Okay, that's it there for just a minute. Let me see here. Hang in there. Now, we're going to run over time. True confession. But here comes the third part. It's the third and final part of Sunday's session with former Senator and Minister Franca Bernardine. Listen up, Grenada, and get to know this lady a little bit better. Here comes Franca.
That's correct.
People out there know what's going on, Franca.
I know what's going on.
Okay.
I know what's going on. Let me just comment very briefly on the whole issue of where is the NDC, because it leads on to a point that I really want to make.
You have a lot more points to talk about, young lady.
Yes, true. Let me take two on this one, two
All right.
minutes on this one. You have to understand, at least certainly I speak from my own experience. People, we must change our whole political thrust. This cannot be a body of 10 or 20 people telling the nation what to do and making noise, and the rest sitting back and critiquing. That is not how that change is going to come about.
Exactly.
That change is going to come about when we together address what the issues are that are creating a problem for us. As I said, I will give you an example. I walk on a path, not detailing where, in the mornings, and get stopped quite frequently. And everywhere, supermarkets, pharmacies, whatever. I really am getting it on all sides. Very positive comments and people encouraging and so on. This particular morning, it was a taxi man who stopped and he said, "But I'm not hearing you at all." And I said to him, "What is it you want to hear, sir, that you haven't heard before? I have been speaking for 10 years, 5 in the Senate and 5 as a minister in the Senate. And did you do anything about what we said? Didn't you? Was the outcome any different?" "Well, no." I said, "And you went and you voted the other side. You still want to hear what I have to say?" So he laughed. At that stage, he came out and he gave some other comments and so on. Well, they liked him. I said, "Well, I have no argument with that. You like who you chose and you put them there, but live with it. Why you want to hear from me now? You chose that. You must feel the effect, the consequences of your choice. That's what choices are about. You have to live with them." So I have to step back and see how you felt about the choice and what are you saying now about your choice that you made, for you to learn from that. And then I said to him, "My dear sir, all I could do is shine a light and say, you see this road here that you're going down? That's the wrong road. And this is the right road over here. You got to get the education, you got to get the health sorted out, the agriculture and so on, tourism, etc. So you must be with me so that we could point these things out and get something." Politics is a we thing. It's not about what happens in the Caribbean today and in Grenada today, where I use my wit and intelligence to outmaneuver you so I could stay in power. You see, it's plenty more than that. And we've matured as a nation now. We must move past that. We must be able to say, look, we need a hospital that we can lie down in when we are ill. You think 30 NDC members are going to be able to bring this about? You have to be part of the thrust. And so I find that our vision on politics, it's not about a matter of getting up now and belting out more story. You know how it goes. That's why I didn't come with a whole, I do have my statistics here, but I didn't come to give out a whole set of statistics. You've been listening to them. The issue is, what change are we going to make to ensure that we are part of that thrust forward? Because until that happens, you're spinning top in mud. You'll just listen again to the voice of the charmer and keep going down the wrong road to all our thing. We have to pull them back. Or get somebody in there, get a government in there that is going to listen to us. We hired a team of managers.
We want to hear that because, there are a lot of people, who are putting their hope out there in the NDC, but, they're all saying the same thing, well-intentioned before the election, and when they get into office, mindsets change. Let me get back to some of these comments here, young lady. Bob Marichaux says, "A consummate professional in the true sense of the word." Lydia James says, "Good morning. Remember, I rescued you and your mom at the airport." Good to see you. Great lady, she says. Anthony Park is listening to you.
Yes.
You know Anthony?
I so do.
Oh, okay. Shane Ross says, you know Shane?
Oh, very well.
So wait a minute. You brought your mob with you this morning, young lady? Shane Ross says, "This is your time, Sister Franca. The New York chapter is behind you 100%. You are the mother of this nation. Lord have mercy.
Morning to
Franca.
the diaspora and Shane and the rest out there. Good, good to know that you're out there. And thanks for the support.
Kipling Francis says, Franca, you are more loved than you will ever know. God's blessings.
Thank you.
See? Johnny Grant says, certainly, the men are sleeping. Go for it, Ms. Bernadine. This country needs you. I tell all you, wait until we get to whether or not she is going to, Wait, don't jump the gun. All right. Lydia James says, I meant to say I rescued her and her mom in the airport from a crazy man who attacked them. You remember that?
Yes, yes. Where is she?
I think she's in Toronto. I'm sure she's going to let us know. Kenny Stevens says, women of strength and reality. Chris Davis says, absolutely, Franca. It's a we thing. Ryan says, yes, man. Actions have resultant consequences, so think about the consequences before you vote, Grenada. Ian Roberts says, Franca, as Grenada's PM is a no-brainer. Oh, so hold on a minute, let me reread that. Ian Roberts says, Franca, as Grenada's PM is a no-brainer, slam dunk, period. Well, let me tell you, if you didn't have a plan when you walked into the studio this morning, by the time they get through with you, you're all sorted out. Chester Simon says, Franca, your Swiss poses, I guess he meant your Swiss posse. Your Swiss posse is listening to you. Chester's in Switzerland. And
yes,
Lydia says, yes, she's in Toronto now. Franca, listen. Okay, so you touched on education. We ain't touched on agriculture yet.
No. Well, there are 3 or 4 points, very basically, that we need. The agriculture programs are far from what they ought to be, and disappointingly so. The NDC has a very clear plan with that, in that respect, and has aided heavily. It's available both in public form and type form, hard paper form, as well as online. But let me just make 2 or 3 quick remarks, and they will speak for themselves. And I want to quote here from the chief at Silver Sands with respect to getting agricultural products for the hotel, for example. I presume that's what his comment is about. And he says in the newspaper, Grenada is not ready yet. That's why they have to bring in stuff from the USA and elsewhere. They can't share and deliver what we would like to, because we are not growing it and producing it. It's as simple as that. So it's not coming from me, it's not coming from the NDC, it's coming from people who work here. There have been complaints as well, complaints, but there have been comments from Sandals. I just want to use Sandals about the news and far more hydroponics, for example, the water growth of plants through water, and many other Leo Cato that mentioned that the feeder roads are affecting agriculture greatly. You don't have room to bring the produce in. You can't bring the produce in. This is not donkey and the one. These are conveyor belts that we're competing against in Latin America, oranges and bananas and so on. Many more. You see? So what he's saying is that the feeder road is critical. We're not paying attention to that at all. After all the bragging about what all roads are in place. Let me mention as well, it was brought to my attention that most of the beef is coming in from Brazil. So our whole livestock industry, I don't know how successful to be producing, rearing, raising, and to export to other CARICOM islands. But they are perhaps what they're doing, so that's why we try and bring it up here. We still haven't seen the arbiter. No arbiter, no explanation. More importantly, we may have had a delay in circumstances, but also we need to be kept abreast of what is happening. All of this points to management, George, and the sort of style, the autocratic style of management, which is so outdated. It's not about controlling people with a whip. It is about empowering people to want to let go of the standards that they are capable from and raising them and allowing them to flow and seeing how you can facilitate their flow so that they're able to get ahead. That's what we're all doing. And I want to say to those who are duly favored, unfortunately for you, just to put it that way, if the rest of us don't get favored on the island, we're all going to not get. So that is why we just let along understand please let me because that is our major issue for Grenadians right now. And rightly so, George. For a period of time during when we were campaigning and so on, I stopped speaking about health. So passionately I felt about it because it's something I have felt and advocated must be well into 15 years. It is a situation that it beats me that 100,000 people cannot seem to get themselves organized well enough to have one smoothly run hospital. All the ability that we have, management skills, education, good nurses, doctors we produced over the years, all the ingredients are there. We cannot get ourselves an institute that could look after us when you feel sick and you get ill, you can go in. So it's something I've always felt very passionately about because I don't think it takes a genius to see what needs to be done. Clearly, the hospital is not the only aspect, of course, of health in Grenada. There are many other aspects to it. But it is the single biggest one that we have a major issue with and affects everybody all of the time. Having said that, I should have started off, first of all, by saying deepest condolences to Dr. Thomas.
Yeah.
Fine gentleman. And I'm sure my party will join me in that respect. I know they've already written it, I've seen it. But I still want to add that voice again, you know. He was the doctor that my husband saw the week before he died when he went into hospital, and he was so good to us. So our farewells, and may God continue to bless you on the other side, and that you reach your eternal rewards, Dr. Thomas. Sorry to your family for all that they have to endure. The tragedy is we don't have a facility or a hospital that we could lie down in, as I say. The good news is that it could be fixed. It is by no means an insurmountable or unsurmountable problem. Now, one of the issues identified, not by me, not by the former Prime Minister, by the World Health Organization, WHO PAHO, did a report on Grenada's hospital and came up with 5 clear recommendations. Well, they came up with one clear statement, but they gave 5 solid reasons why it should happen. They said you needed a new hospital. Simple. The reasons why you need to have a new hospital are, I don't remember all of them. I read the report. It was given to me by Sister Anne, who was the Minister of Health at the time. Very clear on what we should do and so on. I remember 2 of them being, one was the access to the hospital, excuse me, as being highly inadequate in today's world. You can't have one entrance going in and out, you're looking for trouble, pure trouble. And it's only a matter of time before it drops on you. So from that stage onwards. Secondly, the incinerator ought not to be in such close proximity to the operating theatre for obvious reasons. There were a number of reasons. There were big issues with the elevator and moving people up and down before and so on. They gave all their reasons and said you need to move away from that. Based on that, the Minister of Finance, who was the line minister responsible for this at the time, did a superb job. That is former Minister and Senator Nazimberg. We planned for 2 solid years. I was not the line minister. He was, but I attended from the education point of view and the Minister of Health from the health point of view. We sat together with a team of persons who came in from IFC and planned a whole new, where would it be? Consultations were held and so on, where was the best location, best water supply, everything, all factors were taken into consideration, and brought that plan right up. June of 2013 was where the timeline began now for the implementation. I have all the notes, all of the notes as I keep, as you all, the public knows, on all the meetings that were held and the conclusions of the IFC to the meetings, even to the meeting that was held the August before with St. George's University, because it was decided there was a financial gap of about 10 million. They had shown where the amount we spend yearly, exactly how we would finance everything. The last bit was the 10 million for the financing gap. And I remember 4 million was to come from St. George's University, or the meeting was to determine that. And that's how they closed. There are 1 or 2 other smaller donors. That's how they closed the gap. So I don't want the Minister of Health to come and do as if the planning wasn't there. Anybody who requires to see the step-by-step process, I don't know if the information has been moved or burnt in the ministry, but I certainly have my copies of those meetings. So I know they took place and they were there, right up to the last stage. But you see, if it went into play, it would be an NDC project. And we keep playing the partisan politics ahead of the needs of the country. That's what Caribbean politics is doing for us now, and that is why we have to change that whole approach. Because we must do what is good. You see, health and education, they have to rise above what party people support and so on. We, the people, must keep these things on track. We come in and we remove the report, see, and decide we can stay where we are. This is painful for me, George. I remember when my father, I asked him one day, before he died, because he worked in health here for 42 years, and he was the chief medical officer, and I said, when did you first identify the need for a new hospital? He tells me in 1949. We are now at 2019, and we still don't have the hospital. Because every 10 years, a politician comes in and decides, oh, you don't need this and you don't need that, and throws it out. We are in charge of our island and must see very clearly what the needs are. 1949, and you can see the whole cycle which I went through with him 10 years later. Every 10 years we raise it and throw it back out. No, we're still back into the same old tricks. And these are the things that keep back Caribbean people, because we should have been much further ahead than where we are. They saw the need at that time for location, for size, for everything else. And don't give me the statement that good hospital building is not going to ensure a good hospital. It is the first step to doing so, and further to that, in this same plan. IFC is a branch of the World Bank, okay? It's a funding. One of the funding wings of the World Bank. And in that process, they were going to manage the hospital for 18 to 20 years, 18 years, before they handed it over to Grenada, using Grenadians, but making sure that we maintain the standards and the facilities that we are occupying. The hospital was carded for the big main road in St. David's, just before you get to Wester Hall and Wester Hall Point. It is actually in Wester Hall, near to where the Cardi station was. They looked at it, they said, yes, good location, we could do this, this is what could happen, and so on. And then now, the worry about whether NDC will get in or NNP should maintain their status, because it has to be that. No logical, clear thinking person would look at that level of planning from a world body, in addition to the advice of the World Health Organization and PAHO, and turn around and decide you don't need a new hospital. I mean, that is foolhardiness. So here we are, the same levels of mismanagement taking place. I am not going to beat up on either the doctors or the nurses, because there are people there who are very capable, highly committed, etc. In any management system, if you don't manage people, those who are working hard will get fed up with those who don't even deserve the job because they're not qualified for it, all of whom are still being brought in. And it creates a hodgepodge of confusion. So I have no doubt, given the right management and the levels of interest, it's not about handing over a box of plasters and handing over these things and not then doing as if this is the big thrust forward. We have lost our focus as a nation. There's no two ways about it. You focus on putting down a hospital there for the reasons that are given. It's not something that NDC created. It's not something we just followed through on the policy and the process. And it is a crying shame that at this point in time, we are still sitting here, driving around the island looking for donations to sponsor circumstances, living in circumstances we should never be subjected to. Grenada was the Mecca. Grenada was a place, before I was growing up and when I was growing up, where when you had complex medical cases, you sent it here. It was the seat of the Windward Island Federation. And therefore, we were used to excellently run services. I remember very clearly that if you were a Grenadian coming home to work, you had to go and work out in the out islands first, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and so on, before you could be qualified enough to come here. I talk personally because that is how my father ended up going to St. Vincent. I just said to him, you got to go work your way up. That's the level of medical care. How we have arrived at this doorstep with all kinds of foolish statements. Like we have returned Grenadians. Thank God they came back. Thank God some of them are qualified in hospital management, in all manner of nursing and whatever. Instead of us welcoming them, we check in to see if they're NDC or NNP to decide whether we could use their skills. I mean, I have to get impatient with these things because we need to move well beyond that. It is holding back the country in a terrible way. And so gone are the days when we can pick people who can't do the job or can't manage. You can't put Imanis as much as they are willing, into a laboratory and to carry out, as a chemist myself, I cringed when I heard it, to carry out various experiments, true, under observation, but it's not a place for them, really. They have to learn, apprentice in a different way. Not a hospital lab where you're dealing with people's cancers and you're dealing with people's situations and circumstances is unacceptable. So it can't be run that way. It's not an unsurmountable problem at all, by no means. As a matter of fact, if I may say, my good friend and hallmate from UWI, because she lived on the hall with all of us, same floor, 2 doors up from me, is the director of PAHO. PAHO, WHO, has for the first time a Caribbean person, maybe not for the first time, in her seat. She's Dominican, and I have no doubt is very anxious to facilitate and help the needs that are in the Caribbean.
So there is
Dr.
hope there.
Carissa Etienne. So I know that help is available in very high places, and very good advice. Apart from the many Grenadians we have in prominent positions in health, I can't accept the fact at all, and will not accept. And it remains a lifelong ambition to see this hospital built, sorted out, and move forward so that we can have the sort of facilities that we need, you know?
Well, well, well. Here we go again. George extending his apologies. I think you do understand that he's trying. And he will survive. He will survive. Folks, I thought I should run that by you this morning because it's important that you get to know this lady a little bit better. And because of what happened here this morning, if you're so interested, you can go back to the GrenadaBroadcast.com website and check the archives. It's there in its entirety, and it's fine. Now, that's going to take us to the end, not only of today's edition of Gudday Grenada, but also to the end of this week's programming. You're not going to see us again until Sunday morning, when we bring you the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. However, just before we pull the curtain down, as we do every morning, an inspirational parting word from the Holy Scriptures. Today's comes to you from the first book of John, chapter 1, verses 8, 9, and 10. If we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, He's faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. If we claim that we have not sinned, we make Him out to be a liar, and His word is not in us. Pilgrims, I do wish you and yours a safe, enjoyable weekend, and also extend an invitation to you to join me again on Sunday morning for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. In the meantime, I send my blessings to you. I pray that your hearts will be filled with peace. God bless you.